Norm again. Today, it's growing up. Chapter 4, From an Egg to a Baby. The egg that has been joined by a sperm is now able to grow, and it starts growing very fast. Its shape changes. One part of it begins growing to be a stomach. Another part starts to become a heart and lungs. Then the beginning of a head and arms and legs appear. At the end of about 1 month, the egg no longer looks like an egg. It seems more like a little curled up fish. It is still so tiny that it could rest on the nail of the mother's little finger. It keeps on growing. And at the end of another month, it is more than an inch long. It begins to look like a baby. On page 33, there are drawings showing some of the changes through which we go in growing from an egg to a baby. 4 months pass, and now the mother feels something stirring in her uterus. That is the baby. It is lying there curled up like a kitten asleep. On page 34 is a drawing of a baby in its mother's uterus. It seems to be lying quite still, but real babies kick and stretch as we do when we're asleep. While it is doing all this growing, it needs food. A long tube comes from its body, ending in something that looks like a flat, round sponge. This is called the placenta. Through the placenta, the baby is fed from the blood of the mother. Every body who has been born, every man, woman, and child, has a hollow place on the outside of his body just below the stomach. People often call it the belly button. That is the place where the tube goes from the baby to the placenta. Doctors call it the navel. The statue on page 39 of a young mother with her baby shows the navel. The little girl is now so big that it is hard to believe that she once lived in the uterus of her mother. When the egg moves into the uterus and starts growing to be a baby, the uterus is very small, not much bigger than a pear, but as the egg grows, the sides of the uterus stretch to make room for it. The mother's body becomes larger so that she can take better care of the baby. Her breasts grow bigger so that they can fill with milk for the baby to suck from them after its birth. When the baby has been growing for 9 months, it is ready to be born. The sides of the uterus now stop stretching. Instead, they begin to push and to squeeze the baby out. Usually the baby lies with its head pointing downward toward the tube called the vagina, which leads to the outside of the mother's body. The vagina is narrow, but it stretches as the baby enters it. Slowly the baby passes from the uterus through the vagina and into the world. Some babies need a whole day or more in which to make this journey, and some babies are born in a few minutes. The pushing and stretching that the body must do to help the baby leaves the uterus uses up the mother's strength. It is hard work for her. The doctors call it labor. She either goes to a hospital or calls a doctor and a nurse to her home. They take care of her and the newborn baby. The doctor cuts the cord or tube through which the food has been going from the mother to the baby, and from now on the baby will feed through its mouth. The doctor listens eagerly for the first little cry that the baby makes after it's born. For then he knows that it is alive. But the mother and the father are happiest of all, for after having waited 9 months for the egg to grow to be a baby, they can now at last see the baby and hold it in their arms.